Welcome to Finding Your Disney. I'm so glad you joined us, and we have Sandy and Roxanne joining us. And have you ever been wondering where to start in your planning journey for that first trip to Walt Disney World? Well, we're going to help you get started. And there's the big three topics that we always like to start with. And it's time of year that you're going to go, or if there's fixed travel dates, the trip length, how many days you're going to be able to go for, and budget considerations. So that's always important to make sure that you do take a look at the cost and make sure you budget accordingly. So with that, I'd like to welcome Sandy and Roxanne.
Hello.
Hey folks, how's it going?
Good to see everybody.
I know. I love that we get together so often now for this show. It's so nice to just reconnect every week and get to gab everything Disney with my favorite Disney buds. It's just awesome.
Yeah, it makes the day go much smoother.
Yeah, we get to help people plan those magical vacations. Yay.
So I know we've gone a number of times now, and it seems like, we're used to planning and we have a routine. But for those people that are just starting with their very first trip, thought it was a good idea for us to get together and share what we've learned and some tips or things they should consider that we learned either the hard way or other people taught us. So
absolutely.
Definitely.
So let's get started with when to travel. Like what time of the year, travel dates, like what are the things that you think about when you're planning your Disney trip? Is it around like school? Some people have children, they can only go during certain times of the year. Are there certain events that you look at? So what is it that you find when you're planning your trip on when to travel?
All of the above, but for us at least, because, I feel like someone asked me the other day how many times we've been to Disney at this point, to either Walt Disney World or a Disney park or a Disney destination. And I really had to think about it. And I was like, I'm going to have to get back to you on that one because I think I have officially lost count. Like it's a really nice, thing to be, a position to be in where you kind of have to reflect back on all your trips, kind of using your camera reels and things like that. Definitely time of year will be different for everyone. And it'll be different every stage of your life cycle. So when your littles are really, really little, you can go anytime and you should go often because, under 3, they're free. You might as well. Right?
Yeah.
And I can say that the trips that we've done with littles have always been kind of like the most magical and the ones that kind of get you hooked because everything is real, right? Like every single character that you meet, that's Mickey Mouse, that's Cinderella. There's no doubt the impossible is possible at that age. It's just a really nice time to go. And then as you cycle through different life cycles of your family, it'll change. When we get into kind of like the school age, you're maybe not super bound by the school schedule, depending on what the contracts are like with your local school district or whatnot. Some schools are very forgiving if you yank them out of school. Some schools are not, depending on what kind of school you're sending your kids to. I know we have friends that send their kids to private schools and they can't take them out during the school year. In our case, when our kids were little, it was a no-brainer. If we were going to be able to go at a less crowded time of year, then we would definitely pull them out for the school breaks. And then when you get into that kind of older life cycle, like I'm sure Roxanne, the last couple of years have been a little bit more difficult for planning that, especially with kids in university as well as kids in high school, all at once, planning around those school calendars, those exam schedules. Well, that's what I'm getting into now too, is like they want to try and kind of like, be more independent, get those summer jobs and those sorts of things. And so then your travel schedule gets dictated a little bit more by that. And then you also get into the cycle where, my husband and I often will travel down to Walt Disney World and to other Disney destinations without the kids, especially now that he's gotten into the Run Disney events and is trying to hook me into them too. Signed up for one of those 10Ks. It's going to be interesting. But that changes too as to when you can travel, because you're not as bound anymore by the kids' school schedule as
True.
you were before, but now you're more bound by your work obligations and, maybe family events and things like that. So it really does change throughout the trajectory of a family's life. What have been kind of some of the hurdles and the things that you've planned for along the way, guys, when you've been planning your family trips?
Yeah.
Well, for us, we only did a few trips when they were younger, and like you were saying, school schedule really dictated on how many days we wanted to take them out.
Yeah.
And because we really didn't want to go down in the summer too often, or if we did, we wanted to pick more in the early parts of summer, like June, where before it got really hot in July and August. And then even in high school, you had your sports schedules, so you were limited on when they had to start practice, and make sure you're back. And we always like to take certain other trips during our summer up here. So lately, what we've liked to do is go down in what I guess you call your low season, when it's like January. It's not really February, March, so it's still kind of cold down there. People are like, oh, it's
so cold.
Wearing a jacket. It's
Not like up
compared
north
to where we live. So
it
still looks nice if you can wear a light jacket and get out and enjoy the sunshine.
No snow.
So that's when we've been really enjoying it the most, is to go in that off season. And then, you can also stretch your dollar, because, the tickets, the cost of tickets and things are not as expensive as in their
demand
peak
pricing. Yep.
And see, like for the longest time when the kids were little and they were going to day camps, we would, be going on our vacations kind of the last 2 weeks of the summer, because it was also dictated by other people's school calendars. So Roxanne and I, from further north, and you too, Rachel, we have a different school schedule from the rest of the southern United States. And so,
season.
Us as Canadians, we have a little bit different scheduling across like all the different provinces, and you guys too, I would imagine, throughout all the states. But the big thing for us for years and years and years, we would be going down during the summer, the last 2 weeks of August, because there were so many, like there were so few people in the parks compared to the rest of the year. And we were always able to drive it because the weather would be nice. And we would be able to tack on a stay at one of the beach resorts, right? Or be able to, exactly, be able to hit up the beach for a little bit of time after that. So it was really great for that as well.
Yeah. Because they do have that in Florida, you have your Vero Beach, Disney Vero Beach, which is
impossible to get into. Let's just be clear.
Very small.
If you're trying to book that resort, like, just say a prayer before you try and go online to find a spot, because that one's teeny tiny.
That one,
and very, very difficult to get a reservation at. Same thing with Hilton Head. But I mean, the rest of Florida has tons and tons and tons of lovely places that you can go to. Right?
Let's stay. Yeah, no, and I don't know if people know, but September is considered preschool month. So if you do have preschool children, it's a great time to go in September. It's very low season. Again, the first 2 weeks are super, super low season. You've got everyone going back to high school and college, and nobody's taking their kids out those first 2 weeks. So preschool month is September. So keep that in mind if you have really littles. And obviously, like Sandy said, it doesn't matter when you take them out, but that is a great time to go. We like to do things around, special occasions. So I like to go like maybe for a birthday or an anniversary, or like a graduation, either high school or college graduation. I think it makes a really nice gift. So we've done that too. Like our son has a birthday in June, our daughter's July. Our other son we have 3 children, and the other one is in December. So all good times to go, summer you're off, and all the things you all were saying. But it does get more complicated as your children do work. And again, with the sports, we also have those problems. But I also like to look at times when they have different festivals. So I love Flower and Garden, which March is perfect for that. And usually college kids will have a spring break in March. It's a little more crowded, but I do love, just like after a long, cold winter, I love seeing all those flowers. It just gets me in the mood for spring and summer. Food and wine in the fall, right? Or Halloween party tickets if you want to go and trick or treat and all that, right? The Halloween or the Christmas party. So if you're a celebration type person or a festival, that could be another thing to look at. If you want to see those Christmas lights, another really fun time is the day they take down the Halloween decorations and do Christmas. So you can see both at the Magic Kingdom and Sandy, correct me, I think it's like November. We'll have to look up the date, but
Yeah, it's
that
right
is
after
good bang
Halloween.
for your, bang for your
they
buck.
do the switchover right after. Do
Nice.
keep in mind, however, is that
Yeah.
a lot of folks try to be there for both the Halloween parties and for the Christmas parties.
Yep.
And it is near impossible now unless you're going down for like 10 days plus.
Okay.
Because those Christmas parties are usually starting
Timing.
like a good week after the Halloween party ends. So there's that. But there's also the Jollywood Nights. That's a new thing that's come out in the past couple of years, which is really, really great. So you can plan around that as well, which
People
is a
love that.
spectacular event over at Hollywood Studios. If you're looking at at the West Coast, they've also got their Halloween parties, the Oogie Boogie Bash, and then they've also got things going on in festivities for the holidays as well. All the overlays that they do out west, like that's a great time to travel as well, to see the overlay on the Haunted Mansion that they bring in for Halloween and for Christmas. It extends.
People love that.
People go nuts for the Halloween.
Awesome.
It's beautiful.
Yeah, beautiful.
Absolutely beautiful.
And they just did Star Wars. I mean, that's something they really do out there that we don't get here. So
that's it. May the 4th.
And I think, people love all these special events, and it's so much fun. And one of the other things, some people are just purely like crowd control. Like, I want to go when it's low. So if you want to do a lower crowd, like Sandy said, September is a good time. And also May. I find like the first 2 weeks of May is like shoulder season in the travel industry. And Sandy, you're a travel agent. You book travel all day and every day for all your clients. May, first 2 weeks is a really good. Now, college kids aren't out yet a lot of times. So it's great for like couples, and the kids are still in school. So I find the crowds are very good in shoulder season, and pricing is a little bit better, like you were saying. But if you want to avoid the crowds, you want to avoid like the peak summer weeks, because even though it's hot, that's when people can go, and that's when their kids are off, and that's when they can get a vacation. And most people do go on a summer vacation, and that is the most popular time besides Christmas.
Changed a little bit in the past couple of years. You're starting to see the demand during the summer months dwindle because of the heat. People really are starting to pick and choose when they want to travel. And so now summer always has really great promos at Walt Disney World and Disneyland. Yeah, it's been getting really, really, really great promos. Even Alani's been getting great promos these days during the winter months. During the summer months. So, which is supposed to be peak season. So there's lots and lots and lots of discounts that you can do now. For example, they brought out a free dining over the course of the summer this year, which is
that's great.
Rare. It was the second time they were bringing out a dining offer this year. So lots and lots of options as far as that. Just to kind of lead back, though, things to keep in mind when you're trying to pick lower crowds is definitely times of year where the vast majority of people will be able to buttress their vacation time with a stat holiday. So you want to kind of avoid those times of year. So first and foremost, the week between Christmas and New Year's is always stacked shoulder to shoulder with people. That's just normal. And then kind of it dwindles a little bit in the week that follows New Year's, but not significantly. It's still pretty crowded. When we get into other holidays that are really, really popular, Easter
really busy. That whole week
with the schools.
They'll reach full capacity, some of the parks too, and they'll turn people away. Just the Magic Kingdom, of course. But I've seen people not being able to get in. And
then if we're looking at other holidays kind of going chronologically throughout the year, of course, there's like the spring break period, but that tends to be kind of really drawn out and spread out. So that's a little bit easier to manage. And then when we're looking into the summer months, July 4th is a big one as well.
Yes.
When we get further into the season, Labor Day doesn't tend to be as crowded, so that tends to be a good time to travel. Columbus Day, however, which is our Canadian Thanksgiving up north, that one tends to be really, really busy as well. And of course, then we get into the American Thanksgiving. But right before that, have you guys heard of something called Jersey Week?
Yes.
So apparently, or it is, the school districts in New Jersey kind of shut down for a week in the month of November, and they tend to all visit Walt Disney World during that time. So that tends to also be a very busy week. And even up here, a lot of our schools, the couple of days that are right after, kind of the week after Halloween tends to also be really, really, really busy here with
Wow.
some of the schools closing down for kind of more of a fall break. And so that also will be a little bit more pricey on flights and a couple of other things. So
Yep.
those are the times of year to be mindful of when you're going through the year. And then anything that's attached to a statutory holiday for the United States. So if you're able to get a Monday off, then a lot of people will take the rest of the week off, sort of thing. Or if you get a Friday off, they'll take the rest of the week off.
Good
So
point.
we got a lot of that.
So, I mean, there's always a good time to go, but definitely when you're planning your trip, first look at those times when you can go, and then start to plan around that.
Do you know when the best time to go is?
Tomorrow.
Yes. Anytime you can go is the best time to go. Like, honestly, the parks will always have people in them. It really is just about living that experience with your family and just slowing down the pace and enjoying the magic. The magic will still be there whether or not there's crowds.
Yep. And there's always something to do. I mean, they definitely have, they spread their festivities, and there's always something to see. Yeah.
I mean, they've got like a food and wine festival. They got Chinese New Year, all that fun stuff going on at Disneyland. It's great.
Yeah.
And their food and wine festival is different than than the Florida one. So you can get both of them out. One's in spring, one's in the fall.
Yeah, exactly.
So
it's great.
So then number 2 that we had talked about was the length of your trip. So how many are the ideal days? Like, what are you planning on doing, and making sure you have enough time without, actually trying to, feel like you need a vacation after a vacation. So,
yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So the vast majority of folks that I've been planning for recently really are doing a full week stay. And if you can, they're tacking on an extra night so that they can have an extra Magic Kingdom day. So visiting all 4 parks, but trying to do Magic Kingdom at a more relaxed pace. Just to be able to kind of split it up. And I mean, just thinking about it, if you're going to be doing the Bibbidi Bobbidi Boutique, and for anybody who doesn't know what that is, it's a princess makeover, a knight's makeover. So the kids get transformed into princesses and knights. That process is about an hour and a half long, right? Not counting like photos and everything else that would be incorporated into that time frame. And then if you're like tacking on, let's say, a Cinderella's Royal Table or a Be Our Guest, well, there's 5 hours of your day at Magic Kingdom gone right there. So you can easily see how having a second day at the Magic Kingdom would be worthwhile.
Yeah.
That's true. And usually you can get a special ticket rates on multi-days once you start getting over.
There you go. The cheaper again.
So so they really do try to help you with that extra cost.
Makes sense. Absolutely. Yeah. It's hard to just go for a long weekend. You don't want to leave after 3 days. You're like, I don't want to go back home. So a week, I think I'm with Sandy. Week is ideal. I even we used to always do like a Saturday to Saturday, right? But even the better thing I like to do is fly Friday night.
Yeah.
So, we have a lot of flights from the East Coast here. We're about 3 hours and closer to the Boston area, and we can direct flight right to Orlando. But the nice thing is, you can work all day, fly at 6 at night, get there at 9, right? And then you're ready to go Saturday morning, which is so nice. So just go on that Friday night. It's another night in a hotel, obviously, a little more money, but it's worth it.
Yeah, we've been seeing a little bit of a shift in that, however, in the sense that loads and loads of folks are now coming in as early as can be on their arrival day.
Okay.
Because Disney for 2025, and it will continue, we're finding out if there's going to be limitations or if it's going to be the full year long. You have free access to the water park.
Yeah, they're going to do that for 26.
Yeah. We're still waiting to see if it's going to be blackout dates or not for the water parks.
Nice.
For certain times of year, because obviously like certain times
It's
of year things close or whatever for the water parks for refurbishments, they won't be open. But so that's a great option. Loads and loads of my guests have done that this year, and they love it. It's a great way to kind of start off your vacation if you can. And then same thing out on the East Coast, on the West Coast. The earlier you get in on a flight on the East Coast, you can practically have like another park day.
Yep.
Right.
Yeah.
So that's great. Or you can have the afternoon to lounge by the pool, or it's great traveling from the East Coast to the West Coast. In that sense.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you hope that your room is ready before 4. Check-in is officially 4, so keep that in mind. So you might want to have your bathing suits in your carry-on luggage. But
Mhm.
Yeah,
You
it's
can
nice.
always
You can just go and if you have your small like duffel bag or whatever, or backpack, you can just throw those things in there, and you can
Yep,
check your bags at the desk, and
it's
then pick
nice.
them up when your
Bellhop.
room is ready. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's a good
You
thing to
don't even
do.
have to pick them up at the desk. You can just call down to Bell Services and have them brought to
Or
your room,
deliver.
Rachel.
That's true.
Yes.
Like,
Service
why would
with a
I lug
smile.
those things with me?
Just give them a tip. You're done.
That's great. No, we really take
But
advantage of
yeah, I
that.
think for a new person, I mean, if you can ideally do 1 park per day, so there's a 4-day, right? If you can do a pool day midweek, like on Wednesday or something as a
Exactly.
rest day, or 2 rest days. So there's your 5th day, maybe a day at the pool, and then Disney Springs at night. That could be another, rest day, sort of speak. So yeah, I would try to do at least all 4 parks, because it really is nice to see the different themes.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. And then it depends too on, like, again, going back to the composition of your family. If you're a family that has littles, you don't necessarily want your child sleeping in the stroller during the day, or maybe they're not able to
Hmm.
for nap time and that sort of thing. So you kind of have to stretch out your days a little bit more, in the sense that you would go back to the hotel for a midday
Yeah.
break.
Nap.
Some families with littles really enjoy having like the rest days in between. I think some families at all ages like having rest days in between, so that you can rest your feet from the 20,000 steps you're doing a day.
Right?
But there's definitely those considerations to take into account. Are you going to be the type of family that go, 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 go? Or are you the type of family that that you're going to need, you don't want to have the vacation from your vacation. And so you're going to kind of like stretch it out a little bit more. And
Mhm.
honestly, that's part of what we're here to help with along the way. And we're going to be having more and more of these planning discussions. It's kind of our hot takes on how to plan for your days in the parks and stuff, because
Yeah.
everybody does Disney different,
That's true.
right?
That's
No right,
true.
no
Some
wrong or
people
right way.
go early in the morning, rope
Yep.
droppers, and they don't like to
Yep.
be in at night, and others like
Yep.
to go later in the morning and then stay out till the park closes. So
Exactly.
Yep.
there's never a wrong time, and
No.
you want to enjoy yourself.
That's it.
It's a big trip, and you want to definitely enjoy it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So that kind of leads into the budget considerations.
Always.
Like
Always.
I mean, most moms are the ones that are doing a lot of the budgeting for the trips. So what do you have to consider? Like like we were talking about tickets, whether you do just a park a day or you do a park hopper. I mean, if you're going to have enough days, then why spend the money on the park hopper?
Right.
Where you're going to stay, the accommodations, food, some money for souvenirs, transportation, things like that. So
Mhm.
there's always ways. We probably have a lot we could just share on tips to keep expenses like to a minimum, or at least where to save some money here, but not take away from the fun of the trip. So
Yeah.
True.
And I mean, it does boil down to like location, 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 right? So the closer you are to the theme parks, the more luxurious the hotels are going to be as far as their category. But that's not to say that there aren't like equally amazing transportation options on the Walt Disney World property
True.
to be able to get you to where you need to go. Like, I think to my favorite value resort, which is Pop Century.
Mhm.
And that one has a Skyliner. It's a gondola
Mhm.
system that will bring you to and from Epcot and Hollywood Studios in like 10 minutes. It's awesome.
Mhm.
But there again, like if I'm staying at Animal Kingdom Lodge, which is a deluxe resort, I have my own savannah with giraffes and zebras right outside the window. But to get to the parks, it'll take a little bit longer because
Mhm.
they can't be close to the fireworks because of the animals.
Mhm.
Right.
So there's lots of those considerations to kind of take into account. And usually I tell folks location, location, location. So the closer you are, usually will come with a slightly higher premium as far as pricing. And then the further away that you are, then you have smaller room sizes, and you also have kind of better pricing as
Yeah.
a consequence, and slightly less amenities than you would at the deluxe resorts and that sort
Yeah.
of thing.
That's a good
But
point.
yeah.
Yeah.
But with some of those specials that you've been, the promotions that they've been having, if you can actually travel during those promotions, then you can take advantage of the room discounts that they've been advertising lately for the summer, like you said.
Yeah, your room's going to be one of your top biggest expenses, from what I've seen over the years. And like Sandy said, with the amenities, ask yourself, are you just looking for a bed and a shower? And you're like, I'm going to be full stink in the park, 8 a.m. to 9 p.m. every night. I don't care. I'm just going to fall in that bed and shower. And then I'm never going to really care about the room. I don't care about all the bougie amenities. Or are you a person that likes full service restaurant? Do you like a lounge for cocktails? Do you like a nice water slide in a fancy pool, or maybe a zero entry pool, right? So those are the things.
Splash pads for the children.
Are you looking for those amenities? If you want the amenities, you're going to want to look more moderate and deluxe. But if you're just looking for the bed, the value is going to be a great way to save the money, or off property. Honestly, I know it's not the Disney bubble, but you are going to save money by staying maybe in Disney Springs or off property. So that's another consideration.
Question for you, Roxanne. Do you actually save money staying off property? So this is a big question. So often folks, when they're staying off property, on the surface, their hotel rooms will seem like they are less expensive.
True.
But the vast majority of off-property hotels will actually charge a resort fee. Disney does not.
Right.
The vast majority of off-property hotels will charge overnight parking.
Oh, yeah.
Disney does not. The vast majority of off-property hotels will have a shuttle that brings you to and from the parks. But you better be on the nose, standing in front of that line.
Time is money.
To pick you up, because
you don't want to lose time.
It might pass you by. It's doing all of the hotels that are in that chain, and then dropping you off at the back of the parking lot at Animal Kingdom, then the back of the parking lot at Hollywood Studios, then the back of the parking lot over at Epcot, then the back of the parking lot of Magic Kingdom. You're going to have to take the tram to the Ticket and Transportation Center, and then the ferry or the monorail to get to the front of Magic Kingdom.
Wasting time. And you might be Ubering. Ubers can be expensive too. So you have to think of all of this.
And Ubers don't have the right to drop you off.
Oh, yes.
At your ideal location, right?
True, the lift,
So that's why we have the minivans, and the minivans don't go to the good neighbor hotels. So these are all things to take into consideration. And if you are renting a car, you're paying for parking at all the theme parks.
Yeah, adds
up. Not
to
mention the fact that you do not have 60-day privilege for all your dining reservations to be able to do the duration of your stay.
And your extra magic half hour in the morning or at night if they have the extended hours, which can be another hour.
Resorts, exactly.
Deluxe,
And then, guys, do you like buying lightning lanes?
Do we like buying?
I like buying lightning lanes.
Oh, lightning.
So if you're staying off property, you only have access to those lightning lanes 3 days before, whereas an on-property guest has access to them 7 days before.
Yeah, I think you're better off.
And they've been selling out. So
when
you weigh everything into consideration,
makes sense.
Maybe you're better off staying on Disney property when you kind of like get into the nitty-gritty of it, right?
Yeah.
So, and not only that, but staying on Disney property, you can also have access to the dining plans. So that's great too for cost savings there.
Locks in your food price. Yeah, because the food, let's talk about that. It's another big expense. Way to save money is to do a lot of counter services, right? So that's going to save you money. Then the sit down restaurants or the buffets tend to be very expensive. But there's pros to those. You can get really good photo ops if at any of those buffets. You don't have to wait, for the characters. They basically come to your table. So that is it's a time saver. So consider, maybe a combination, some sit down, some quick services, right? You can also order kids meals. You don't have to always have a big, heavy meal, especially if it's really hot in the summer. You might not want to eat a big meal.
True.
So kids meals, cheeseburger, whatever. Yep. You can order that, to save money. You can split meals. You can get, don't have the fries or whatever. So there's ways to definitely save money, but your food's going to be a very big part of your budget and it's going to be a big expense, but there are ways to save money there.
So speaking about food, a lot of people don't realize, because other theme parks around the world do not allow for this, but Disney actually allows you to bring your own food into the parks.
Yeah, true.
And so for folks that have allergies, or just for folks who have more restrictive diets, being able to bring in an apple or a banana as your snack is a great thing. And then maybe you have an ice cream later on in the day, but at least you're able to like bring that in and eat a little bit more healthfully. And then you can also do like, there's multiple services for doing grocery orders to your
Bottled
resort.
water. Yep.
Mhm.
The
Yeah.
water needs
Especially
to
in the
be.
summer.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
Order a couple cases of water. I mean, because I think the bottled water is just so much fresher. Just tastes better to me. But and Gatorade, like I always have all that delivered. And I know people
If
you
the
can fill up a
resort refillable
thermos.
mug.
Yeah, you can do, and I love buying the mug because the resort mug is a good
Yeah.
souvenir as well. And coffee in the morning, it's definitely a good value.
Yeah.
Yeah, but there are ways to save money there. So we talked about tickets, we talked about accommodations, we talked about foods. What about souvenirs? Should they budget for that? What do you think?
So yes, I mean, a great way to do that is to ask, all the relatives for gift cards for like birthdays
Yeah.
and Christmases and things like that. And that really helps kids to learn about budgeting and about like having that as part of your trip, which is great.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and then they have whatever's on their gift card is what they can spend. It does help keep it from getting too out of control with your budget.
I haven't figured out how to do that for myself with souvenirs, but that's okay.
So
everybody needs one.
Well, those are the top 3 that we've always considered when we've done our planning. So it sounds like, there's a lot even just to dive into each individual topic. We can save that for another episode.
Absolutely.
Let us know in comments what you want us to talk about in future episodes, guys, and we'd be happy to address what you're looking for content.
Yeah, we can definitely do some more drill downs into particular topics that are of interest. Be great.
Yeah, definitely.
So, and you were talking about some of the times of the year. You were talking about the Not So Scary. Mickey's Not So Scary went on sale today. So
yeah, they announced the sale date.
Yeah. So Halloween is coming.
Very popular.
Yep, very popular. It's the one time I think you can go into the park dressed up in a costume, right?
Yeah.
You're not allowed to go in any other time. So
makes sense.
It's fun. People really get into it. Family costumes. It's
parade.
It's awesome.
It's good. The songs.
Lots of Jedis everywhere.
And a lot of good candy.
Yes.
They're so creative. I mean, what people will do. One year I saw like a family of Dalmatians for 101 Dalmatians.
I love it.
Yeah, cute. Get into it.
That was my costume last year when I went.
Nice.
Dalmatian. Super cute.
Nice.
So. Well, thank you for joining tonight, and look forward to having more and more episodes on different topics and making this a regular thing. So thank you very much. Have a great evening.
Good night.
Or day, whenever you listen to us. Bye.